Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? My name is Doodles and I am back once again for another episode of Reviewed, and man, it has been a while. I think the first and only episode of this series I filmed was back in 2016 for Avenged Sevenfold for Stage, and it has been far too long. So I think that it's time to reboot the series, take a listen to some albums and then talk about them. That is what we are going to do today, and I've got a perfect album to kick off this series once again. This album is by an artist called Chusss. I had no prior knowledge about Chusss before listening to this album, and that is a decision that I massively regret because this guy is awesome. And I think when you listen to this album, you'll probably dig it too. But for now, we're going to talk about it, and then hopefully you go off and you go and listen to it yourself. So this album is Becoming the Visit by Chusss. So as I said in the introduction, prior to listening to this album, I had no knowledge of Chusss. All I knew of this album is that it was going to be an instrumental album, but what was it going to be? Was it going to be an electronic album, a blues album, metal album? Well, it turns out it kind of is all three, and a bit more. Now, some sections in these songs wouldn't sound out of place on an electronic artist DJ set, and some of the sections wouldn't sound out of place being played in a smoky blues bar or by some of the all-time greats such as Gary Moore or Steve Vai. And if the song Berude was rewritten as a MIDI track, that song could easily slot into the original Doom soundtrack. The album begins with the song Miss You Much and starts with a melodic clean guitar riff, and slowly over time starts adding more guitar layers, drums and atmospheric elements. It even adds things like bongos, giving it a very exotic feel. All the while building towards a huge lead guitar solo which takes a lot of elements from modern blues such as Gary Moore all the way to artists such as Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. And when I say like Steve Vai, I don't mean shredding up and down the fretboard at a million notes a minute, although Chusss definitely shows his capabilities as lead guitarist throughout this album. But what I mean is I could feel every note that Chusss played, and I could feel the emotion in each and every one of those notes, whether it was his lead guitar playing, his rhythm guitar, the drums, everything in the song. Every note felt like it had a purpose and had a place, and it felt like if any of those notes was removed from the song, a key element of the song would be lost. Despite the songs weaving in and out of various genres, the album overall kept a very consistent feel. The album doesn't jump from like a blues song, one song, and the next song's a metal song, the next song's an electronic song, but rather it takes inspiration, takes elements from each of those things while still maintaining its core concept. One element that is present throughout the album is a strong Arabic touch with a slight Egyptian influence too. Now initially I was struggling to put my finger on it. As I said earlier in the review, it sounded very exotic, but I couldn't quite figure out how and what was making it sound exotic and the influence that was in the album. But to me, I think this is what made the album stand out. It just felt very different, very fresh, and something that definitely kept my attention, especially on the first listen. The album kept me hooked by presenting a fresh idea each song, whether it was the more ambient and almost relaxing songs such as Syringe of Hope to the more metal songs such as Can You Coon. No track seemed out of place, and I realised it's because Chusss kept the core influences and themes present throughout each of the songs through the use of instrumentation, chord progressions and scales. The concept of the album is summarised in the album's title, The Visit 2, which is a continuation of the previous album, The Visit 1. Where all the tracks are soundtracks of true or imaginative stories taking place during the journey of life or visit. Becoming the Visit 2 was written and recorded during 2012 to 2015. It's clear to see why this album took so long to make. An album this thought out with this much attention to detail definitely can't be rushed. Now there's been many concept albums over the years, and I'd easily put this toe to toe with some of the best of them. If you're into the likes of concept albums, this is one that I highly recommend you go and check out. As listeners, we tend to cycle through albums and figure out our favourite songs, but being a concept album, I highly recommend that you listen to this album from start to finish on your first listen before deciding any favourites. Just put on some headphones or listen through your favourite speakers, sit back, relax and enjoy the experience. That's what I did, and I've got to say this album completely blew me away. I can see this being an album that I come back to time and time again, whether it's for enjoyment as a listener or as inspiration as a fellow musician. Chusss is definitely an artist that you should be keeping an eye out for, and one that I definitely will be from this point forward. I kick myself for not discovering Chusss sooner. This album absolutely blew me away, exceeded all expectations I had for the album, and this is definitely one that I can see me listening to time and time again. Now I love the experience each and every time that I do. Now there's quite a few standout tracks for me for this album. I think overall there's no song on this album that I actually disliked. I did genuinely like every song on this album. However, there is some standout tracks. I'm going to list them on screen, probably here, just because some of the spellings are quite unique, and some of them have like numbers in the spelling and stuff like that I don't want to sort of mispronounce them. I'll put them all on a list here, and you can basically just search for them from this list here, or just go and check out the whole album to listen to the whole experience yourself and choose your favourites too. So right, that's going to wrap up this episode of Reviewed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. And after listening to this album, it made me realise that there's just so much amazing music and so much amazing talent out there in the world. Tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of amazing artists that many of us will never ever hear of. They'll slip under the radar, and it's such a shame because albums like this definitely deserve the spotlight and definitely deserve the attention on them and definitely deserve a larger audience listen to them. And I hope this review served its purpose. If one person, if 10 people, if anyone goes out, buys this album, becomes a fan, then I would consider this review a success. And it made me realise that there's a lot of good artists out there. Maybe I should just start browsing for some more obscure artists, some more unknown artists, rather than just sticking with the more mainstream ones that I'm aware of. And I think that's definitely something that after hearing this album, you might go and do the same too, and I really hope you do. We really do need to give a lot more attention to independent artists, and this has definitely opened my eyes as being something that I'll be doing more in the future. And so if you guys enjoyed this today, if there's any other albums, if there's any other artists that you want me to check out, if you want me to make an episode of reviewed on, let me know in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed this video today, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. My name is Doodles, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.